Assalamu alaikum, dear students and teachers. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Rubina Gul, lecturer in chemistry, Government Girls Degree College Nawab Shah, District Shahid Benazirabad. Today my topic of presentation is significant figures. As you all know that we are studying first year chemistry chapter number 1. So significant figures is the first topic of this book. Significant figures is simply the number of figures that are known with some degree of reliability. Means it's a number which we know with certainty. For example, the number 13.2 is said to have 3 significant figures and the number 13.20 is said to have 4 significant figures. There are certain rules for predicting the number of significant figures which are given as under. Number 1. All non-zero digits are significant. For example, 1.234 gram has 4 significant figures and 1.2 gram has 2 significant figures. Second rule is zeros between non-zero digits are all significant. For example, 1002 kg has 4 significant figures and 3.07 ml has 3 significant figures. The rule number 3 is zeros to the left of the first non-zero digits are not significant. Such zeros merely indicate the position of the decimal point, that is 0.001 has only one significant figure and 0.012 gram has 2 significant figures. Rule number 4 is zeros to the right of a decimal point in a number are significant. For example, 0.023 ml has 2 significant figures, but 0.200 gram has 3 significant figures. The last rule is number 5. When a number ends in zeros that are not to the right of a decimal point, the zeros are not necessarily significant. For example, 190 miles may be 2 or 3 significant figures, and 50,600 calories may be 3, 4 or 5 significant figures. Now there is another topic which is rounding off data. So what is rounding off data? Rounding off means a number is made simpler by keeping its value intact but closer to the next number. It is done for whole numbers and for decimals at various places of hundreds, tens, tenths, etc. Rounding off numbers is done to preserve the significant figures. The number of significant figures in a result is simply the number of figures that are known with some degree of reliability. Now there are certain rules for rounding off data. Number 1 rule is if the digit to be dropped is greater than 5, then the last retained digit is increased by 1. For example, 12.6 is rounded to 13. Number 2. If the digit to be dropped is less than 5, the last remaining digit is left as it is. For example, 12.4 is rounded to 12. Number 3rd rule is if the digit to be dropped is 5 and if any digit following it is not 0, the last remaining digit is increased by 1. For example, 12.51 is rounded to 13. Fourth rule is If the digit to be dropped is 5 and is followed only by zeros, there are two possibilities. Number 1, the last remaining digit is increased by 1 if it is odd, and number 2, but left as it is if even. For example, 11.5 is rounded to 12 and 12.5 is rounded to 12. This rule means that if the digit to be dropped is 5 followed only by zeros, the result is always rounded to the even digit. Now we have to proceed progress test number 1, and it is on page number 27, question number 4, related question of significant figure, that is, determine the significant figures in the following: A 15.01, B 7,000, C 3.200, D 0.004. So answer is for A 4 significant figures, for B 1 significant figure, for C it is 4 significant figure, and for D 1 significant figure. Now question number 7. Round off the following numbers into A 4, B 3 and C 2 significant digits. Number 1 is 8.7483, number 2 is 5.36748, number 3 is 15.145, and number 4 is 188.55. Now answer for 8.7483 by applying all the rules for rounding of data. Number 1 is 8.748, number 2 is 8.75, number 3 is 8.8. Now the answer for 5.36748, number 1 5.368, number 2 5.37, number 3 is 5.4. Now answer for 15.145, number 1 15.14, number 2 15.1, number 3 15. And answer for the last 188.55. There are only two possibilities. Number 1 188.6 and number 2 is 189. That was all about significant figures and rounding of data in our book. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.